And so maybe this was the very first beginning, the first opening shots of the war on Christmas. But to talk a little bit more about then and now and the clash between Christmas and pop culture is Dr. Richard Land. He's the president of the Southern Evangelical Seminary and the former president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission for the Southern Baptist Convention. Dr. Land, it's great to talk to you, sir. Welcome back to America's Forum.
Good to be with you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, sir, and Happy Hanukkah to everybody else who's celebrating today, and Happy Holidays to everyone. Of course, we don't want to forget what this time of year is all about and why we all get to have a few days off of work. But back to your point, sir, it is Christmas. We heard those astronauts reading from the Bible there, somebody filing that lawsuit. Do you think things have changed a lot where some folks are always just going to be opposed to any public display of religion?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I remember that vividly. I'm that old. And I'm from Houston, and I was actually in Houston for Christmas, and so, you know, the space program was really big in Houston. And I remember Madalyn Murray O'Hair. Of course, she's the same woman who filed suit that eventually ended prayer in schools, the official prayer in schools. You know, she was far more a fringe person in the 60s than she is now. It's amazing, actually, the percentage of Americans who claim to be Christian has not changed very much since the 1960s. What's happened is that the percentage of people who are of no belief, not the ones who are the NONES, the nuns who are not affiliated, but people who are actually either agnostics or atheists, has grown from about 6% to about 15% of the population. I would say that they're disproportionately in the upper middle class. They're disproportionately in the information areas of our society, and they are far more vocal, and they are far more comfortable using the legal levers that protect minorities in this country to try to get the legal system to misinterpret the Constitution. Now, let's be very clear. The First Amendment to the Constitution is there to protect people of religion from government intrusion. Congress shall make no law affecting an establishment of religion and shall not interfere with the free exercise thereof. You and I, as religious people, cannot violate the First Amendment. Only the government can violate the First Amendment. And those protections are there to protect freedom for religion. And what these people have done is they've used the legal system to turn it on its head so that now it's being interpreted as freedom from religion.
Dr. Land, on that note, we'll have to end it there. Thank you so much for joining us on America's Forum, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas.
Now let's switch gears to one of the biggest events for pro-life advocates. In just a few weeks, the annual March for Life will kick off its annual conference and expo.
Yeah, Miranda, the March for Life began as a small demonstration and rapidly grew to be one of the largest pro-life events in the world. And joining us now to discuss the march in 2015 is Jeanne Monahan, the president of the annual March for Life. Jeanne, welcome to America's Forum.
Oh, thanks so much for having me this morning.
Well, it's great to talk to you. You know, this has come up recently, not on purpose, I guess, but a lot of folks have talked about these die-in protests we've seen and the amount of media coverage that they get compared to your event, which is attended by a lot more people than any of these protests. Do you expect more attention to be focused on this event this year? Because it does seem that the debate about life and protecting the unborn it seems to be heating up a bit.
Well, we certainly hope so. We've noticed a certain uptick in our media coverage over the last few years, and we've tried to approach media really differently, opening wide the doors to any kind of media and doing op-eds and really, you know, doing almost any interview that we're asked to do. So that wasn't always the case with the March for Life. And so we've definitely noticed more media involvement and more interest, but as you stated, I don't think it's still adequate or enough or fair coverage, but I think we're moving in a good direction.
Well, Jeanne, we're trying to give you some coverage right now. Can you give us some details about this year's march?
Yeah, I'd love to, actually. Okay. Maybe the most important thing is just to share with you our theme, which is that every life is a gift. And we have kind of a sub-theme, which has to do with a little one receiving a poor prenatal diagnosis. Unfortunately, one of the most pressing issues right now in terms of building a culture of life are these little ones that receive difficult diagnoses in the womb, and up to 90% of little ones that receive a Down syndrome diagnosis or an anencephaly diagnosis or even spina bifida are aborted. They're not brought to term. So we're trying to do what we can with this year's March for Life to educate pro-life advocates about this horrific problem.
And we mentioned the attendance here in the amount of coverage growing, but the attendees, you expect more people to show up. And one thing also, Jeanne, I've noticed, having seen some footage from the event over the last couple of years, is unfortunately it always seems to be a little cold, a little rainy, but folks still do show up in force.
Historically, that week is the coldest week in Washington, D.C., and last year we had record-breaking cold temperatures. It was something along the lines of 7 degrees that morning. I mean, it was really cold, but we were shocked. So many people still came, as you mentioned, in record-breaking numbers. And one of the wonderful things about anybody who's been to the March for Life, you've seen this, but one of the most wonderful things are the kinds of people and the ages of the people that come to the March for Life. It's a really positive, well-populated event by young people. Young people are so enthusiastic about the life issue, and they predominate at the March for Life. It's really exciting.
It is, and we're showing the website right now, and you're also giving away a free trip to the March for Life. Folks can go on your website. Give us the address real quick with about 20 seconds left to go, Jeanne, just so everybody can get the latest information.
marchforlife.org, and be sure to check out about our conference and expo and all the different ways that you can be involved in social media. We'll see you on January 22nd.
All right, and we will cover that event, marchforlife.org. Hopefully you guys have a little bit better weather this year.
Hopefully.
All right. Jeanne, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Much more to come. America's Forum continues right after this Newsmax Now Update.